Good evening and welcome to our live this evening. It is Friday the 14th of June 2024. Thank you so much for joining me. So I did a live yesterday evening featuring one of our new kits called Expressions of Kindness, and so that displaced my normal live on a Thursday evening, which would have been using the Magnolia Mood dies. So that's what I shall be doing this evening. So I'm not normally here live on a Friday, but I wanted to pop that kit in and get that underway. So this is effectively the second of our, police car, we don't need that, of our Magnolia Mood live videos. These were the cards that I made on Monday, and I've just stamped the main image from Magnolia Mood. Hello Fran, I hope you're well. This one on the right was stamped onto some designer series paper. This is actually from the Country Woods paper. And then the one on the left was stamped onto a piece of basic white card, cut with the postage dies, perennial postage, and it was stamped, masked off, and then I used our textured timber stamp set to add the detail in the background, which I hope you can see just about. Now I had to kick Squirrel the cat off, not literally, just kick Squirrel the cat off, so I'm hoping that my camera setting is okay, because he does have a habit of brushing up against the camera and the lights and knocking everything. Let me show you a couple more. This was created this afternoon for Coffee and Card, just again showing the ladies how I stamped and then masked off and added the, in this case, the birch stamp from the same stamp set. Hopefully you can just about see that on there. And then this one I did again stamping onto designer paper. This is retired paper, but it's got this lovely gold fleck all of the way over it. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. So I've stamped those. I've decided I want another little one in the corner here, and also the just a note that I stamped is hidden by some of the gold speckling, so I'm actually going to probably stamp that on a circular die cut and just cover that up, put it on top, and then finish that one off. So let me show you some elements of the dies. So as well as cutting the main parts of this stamp set, which are this large flower here, there's the bud with the magnolia, there's the small flower and the leaf. The dies also cut this beautiful die here. Now I know it doesn't always show up very well. Let me just grab a dark piece of card, so because I know it reflects. So I cut this in some of our champagne foil. So detailed. Obviously it's not as easy to see when I've got all my lights on, my artificial lights, but here is just cut out of white card. So what I'm going to do is actually colour this one in, and you can use blend pens, you can use Stampin' Up markers, you could use watercolour pencils. Obviously if you're doing it on the die, you've just got to be a little bit careful where you've got some finer detail here around the edges, especially of the leaves. So I'm going to be using that for our card today. I might use that behind, and then the other dies in the set, if I can extract them carefully. So there is that die. It doesn't match the stamped image at all. You also have a smaller die, which is this one that cuts a smaller flower, and then we have some different leaves. So we've got some open leaves, we've got some detailed leaves, this one here, we've got a small bud here, and then this leaf and those are the two elements, and the larger element cut out the stamped images. So they're called Magnolia Mood. You will find them on our online exclusive section. It doesn't mean that you have to go online to order them. I think it's quite a confusing name actually. It just means they're not in a printed catalogue, and this allows Stampin' Up to introduce stamps and dies, papers, things like that much quicker. Obviously the catalogues are printed well in advance of their catalogue launch, so having these online exclusives issued 3 times per year means that they can introduce more designs. And in fact we have a new set coming up in July, and you'll be pleased to hear that the majority of them are Christmas based. So for those of you that like to do Christmas early, you'll want to watch out for those available in July. Okay, I may be using this stamp set, I haven't quite decided. So let's crack on. Just going to move these to the side, I'll put them away in a minute. So what I'm going to do is just show you some tips on colouring this panel. I might actually leave it on here because I think you'll see it better, and I have got a layer, so I'm not worried about it going through to the back. So the first thing I'm going to do is colour all of the leaves, and there are a couple of areas where the leaves and the flowers are conjoined, and you just need to sort of be brave and decide which bit is going to be leaf and which bit is going to be flower, and there isn't a right or a wrong. It's up to you to determine that element. So let me grab some green. I'm going to use blends pens. I have a vast selection here that have come back from Coffee and Card, and that of course all mixed up, which is fine as long as I can find what I'm looking for. I've got light and dark granny apple green. You could use any greens, to be honest. You could use mossy meadow, which is coincidentally this colour. Let's move this out of that light. There we go, that's a little bit better. So I've got dark and light, so I'm just going to use the dark first. And if you want, because it's quite a biggish area, as long as your pens are still in suitable condition, you can use the wide tip here, the broad tip, for doing a larger area like so. So this is dark, and I'm just going to go up the centre of these here. And I do like these open leaves because you can put something behind it if you wish. And this is all leaf, so I'm just going to make that across there. And the thing is not to get too bogged down with the detail. Okay, because it's just the overall effect we're looking for. So I'm going to make this bottom bit up there a leaf, and this one could be a leaf or a bud. I think I'm going to leave it as a bud, and maybe I'll do a little bit there and there. So that is my dark. Now I'm just going to use my light granny apple green. Hello Trudy, I hope you are well. So just colouring this in, and because all of the work has been done for you with the die cut, you really don't need to worry. You can leave little patches of white, and I like the fact it's sort of variegated where I've used the light and the dark. I'm not sure how much of that you can see on these leaves. On my camera, on my screen, they all look very much the same green, but in reality for me here they are slightly different greens. So as I said on Tuesday, Monday even, this and all of the bundles, including online exclusives, have an extra 20% discount. Sorry, an extra 10% discount. So when you buy a bundle, it's discounted by 10%, as long as you use the bundle number and don't put in the individual items. And at the moment, through the whole month of June, there's an additional 10%. Okay, so I'm happy with that for my greenery. Now I'm just going to choose the colour of my magnolia, and the majority of magnolias are pale pink, like a pale cream. There are some yellow, and I haven't seen any blue ones, but I do want a nice bit of colour in this actually, so maybe I will go yellow. So I've got dark daffodil delight, I've got lemon lolly, and I've got maybe a little bit of pumpkin pie. Only because I want it to stand out. So I'm not going to put it on the back of this, because that is my card here that I did earlier for those that didn't see it. I'm just using this to make it easier for you to see my colouring in. So I'm going to use dark pumpkin pie for this centerpiece here. Just going over these little holes like that, and it's sort of designed to look as if you're looking at it just from the side. Then I'm going to use light lemon lolly effectively over all of this. Now I might leave some white space, and then I'm going to go back in with a little bit of a darker colour on some of these petals. But you can see you don't even need to do any blending with this. You could just use one colour, and I just think it's so pretty. We have quite a few people with magnolia bushes and trees around here, and they are stunning. It's past the season now, isn't it? It's quite an early flowering item. Okay, so just going to push that up there, little bit of colour in there. This is my little bud, I've decided, but you could easily make that a leaf if you wanted to. Bring a little bit of yellow there. Let me bring that up to the screen. Hopefully you can see that. Again, it looks really pale on the screen. To me it's quite yellow. So I've got dark daffodil delight. This is very well used, and I'm just going to use this on the insides of these petals. So brushing up from the bottom, so you get a more natural feel about it. And even the stamp is easy to colour in, because the shading is all done for you. Okay, a little bit on here. a little bit on the inside of that bud there and here. Like so. I don't know how much of that you can see. Let me just bring that up to the screen again. Can you see the contrast? Oh yes, you can now. So this is quite yellow in comparison, and I'm just going to use that light lemon lolly to go over the join, as it were. And if you use a circular motion between the two, that just helps blend it out. So as I said, this die doesn't match the stamped image, it's a separate one. Obviously you could use it with the stamped image, with the stamp underneath, for example, but it's not one that matches. There is a die for that, of course. Okay, just going to add a little bit of that lemon lolly from the out going in, if that makes any sense, leaving just a little bit of occasional white space. Never be afraid to leave some white. You don't really have to colour everything in. Okay, she says, colouring everything in. Okay, so there's our die cut image, which was basic white, thin card. Sorry, I have no idea who's calling me from some foreign land. There we go. Okay, so I have got this which I cut out in the foil, and what I could do is either place this straight on top or cut out some of these elements and add them. I haven't decided what background this is going to go on. It is really pretty, isn't it? Hi Annabelle, thank you for joining us. Right, let me see. So I've got some assorted papers. Let me just see. It's a bit too dark. We don't want anything too pale. Let's see what I've got. I've got some more wood papers here. I can get those out without knocking everything flying. Okay, so I could put it on the wood. Now that really makes that stand out, doesn't it? Hopefully you can see that colour against that wood, which I rather like. I think this is that's too pale. What a difference that makes. You wouldn't believe it was the same flower really, would you? And that's too pale as well. Let me just check, see what else I've got to hand. I've got a strip of this, which is not quite as dark. But I think I'm going to pop it on this really deep wood grain effect. Just think that looks really nice. Okay, and I add some of this behind it. So let's just trim that little bit down. I'm sure I've got a trimmed piece somewhere, but let's just go with this. And I'm going to make this. I'm going to put a layer behind it and then my card. So I'm going to make this 13.85 centimetres by 9.5, like so. And then this is going to go on to there. Now I may put something behind that. Let me have a look. This might be too big, really. Yes, definitely too big. Okay, so what I might look for is a small die cut that I could add a sentiment on. And so, let me see, well, I'm just going to put this as is, offset. Or, I mean, look at the detail of that. What I'm going to do is cut this up. So I'm going to cut this set of leaves off. And if you're careful, you can just cut around this so that you could use that flower. On the inside, for example, if you wanted to. And then got this one here. So I can tuck this bit in, like so. Hopefully you can see that in the background, and I think I'm going to put some, either some ribbon or some twine around that. And then I've got this set of leaves here, so I'm just again going to cut straight through there. Could really do with my Stampin' Up paper snips, but this is to hand, so it will have to do. Okay, so that leaves me the flower that I can use for another card. So let's find some, I wonder if I've got the yellow ribbon to wrap round there. Or baker's twine. So I've got this, which is actually old retired ribbon, but it's bumblebee, so it's not quite the same. I'm not liking that. I've got some baker's twine in white that I can change the colour of. That's what I'm going to do. Just need to locate it from my bag, sorry. So I had it this afternoon at Coffee and Card. There we go, I found it. So I've got white and I've got crumb cake. So I could either use the crumb cake as is. It's quite nice actually because it's quite a natural one. Or I could take this and colour it yellow. If you want to know how to do that, very straightforward. Let's move those to one side. Just take your baker's twine, take your blends pen or your Stampin' Up marker or your ink, and then you just want to run it along here. Best thing to do is try and, I'm hoping you can see that. Let's try it with the thicker end. Let's try it with this one. Okay, so put the end on there. and just run that through. Hello Chris, hello Vivian. So just running that through there. And the nice thing about using obviously the blends pens is that dries very quickly. If you're using ink, then just be careful, because that will stay wet with ink for a little bit longer. Okay, so that's how to change the colour of baker's twine. You can also do it with ribbon as well. So we had ribbon in the pack yesterday, in our kit that we had. It's got this lovely white ribbon. So you can do the same thing with ribbon. You can colour the whole thing. Obviously ribbon's a little bit easier to do this with because it stays put. So just run your blends pen over. Okay, and the nice thing is that that will soak through to the other side. Let me lift it up so you can see that a little bit better. So there, white ribbon, and I've just run the blends pen across it. And the other thing you can do, if you want, is grab a ruler. That's a little bit long. Let me grab a small ruler. And you could add stripes to your ribbon. You can do them any which way, but if you wanted them, for example, like this, like that, you could have some ribbon striped that way, you could have it striped this way, or you could have it striped horizontal in the same way. And then if you do it and don't like it, just take the pen, run it all the way over, like so. So now I've got some pretty matching yellow ribbon. Right, let's put that to one side. So I've got my little gold leaves here. So the question is, shall I use that ribbon or the baker's twine or the linen thread? My gut feel says the linen thread. So one, okay, the rule of thumb, if it helps you, is if you want to wrap it round and tie a bow, you want 4 times the width that you're using. If I was doing it this way round, which I could do, then I would wrap it round this way. Linen thread, yeah, I'm with you there, Fran. So 4 times. If you're just tying a knot, then 3 times the length. If in doubt, leave it on the reel, use it and then just cut the excess off. Right, let me have a look. So I'm thinking like that. I'm just going to tie it. I haven't fixed it down. I'm going to tie a knot first to hold it in place. That's the easiest thing to do, and then tie a little bow like so. And then the good thing in then is you can move this up and down. So got this length a bit longer. Excuse my big fat fingers in your way. can't see that other piece now. There it is. Not sure I can get it. Let's just pull it out. Do that again, Jenny. That's better. There we go. A bit less bow, a little bit more string. Okay. And I'm going to work out where I'm going to put this. I think I might put that to the right and this to the left. Just be careful not to tear your paper. Lift that up. Come on, that should go. There we go. I'll trim this when I've got it in place. Move this down a little bit. Let's have our magnolia there. Take these ends off. And if you wanted to, you could use a small glue dot to put that in place. I'm still sort of laying out. Okay, so I've got that, and I've got some of these additional leaves, so I might pop those up there. Let me lift this up so you can see it. Hopefully, yes, you can see that one behind it. And obviously you could stamp and cut out full colour leaves if you want to, but I'm just making use of this piece there, and I've got another one here. That's the one that comes from there. I think actually that might just do. Don't want to overdo it. Yeah, no, that's going to do as is. Okay. Right, now I want a little sentiment on there somewhere. What I'm thinking, I wonder if this is too big, is this is a new tab punch that creates like an index tab for a catalogue or a book, and it has a fun stamp set that goes with it, if I can find it, because it was just here for me. I was just prepping another design, and I've buried it, and now I can't find it. Never mind, I can use a small sentiment from here. So, I was thinking for it to drop down underneath there. So let's punch out a little piece of white card and just try it. Got nothing to lose. Grab a piece. There we go. This one. And so let's cut it first, see whether this is going to work. It's got some really pretty designs that fit this little tab. That's why I'm hunting for it. Of course I'll find it as soon as I finish, won't I? Maybe. So you can fold this in half. And I'm just wondering whether to put that. Not so sure now. Let me cut it. I don't know try and move this up a little bit. I want it to look like it's sort of tucked underneath there. I'm not convinced. No, I'm really not convinced. Okay. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put dimensionals, our little foam pads, on the back of here and position it. Then I'm going to tuck my extra leaves in, and then I'm going to decide what to do with my sentiment. So let's do that. I've got some mini dimensionals here, and I'm going to pop them on the bigger areas of the flower and then take the backings off. So thanks to anybody who's joined us after we started. This is the Magnolia Mood bundle that we're using from Stampin Up, and you won't find this in a catalogue, but you will find it online. But if you like the look of it and you want to order it, you don't have to order it online. You can order, just send me an email and I will order it in my next order. Okay, I'm going to put one on there. So I've got the linen thread on there. I could just tie a bow with the linen thread. Just taking these off, just being careful because obviously this is quite fragile. You don't want to be tearing things off. There we go. Could heat emboss a sentiment along there with white embossing powder. That would look quite stunning, wouldn't it? Right, let me see, I think I've got nearly all of those. I'm just looking to see which ones are extra shiny and which ones are slightly dull. If they're extra shiny, I know I've taken the backings off. There we go. Okay, so let's pop that on there, like so. Really does make it stand out, doesn't it? Okay, let's pop these leaves behind there. And I've forgotten I put a little dot on there, but I think I'll be okay. I might just trim this edge off a little bit so I can tuck it further in like that. I'm not worried about overlapping this piece because this is going to go onto another piece and then onto a card, so it's not going to stick out from the card. And I can see I've got the tiniest piece there that hasn't popped out. That one there. Well, it has, but it's popped back in again. There we go. And there's also one next to it actually. I don't know why I'm worrying about that because it's going to be hidden anyway. Okay, this is going to be tucked in behind there, and this has got an area here that we can use the glue on. And then I'm just going to put a tiny bit on here and here. You don't need to go mad, it doesn't need to be completely covered. There we go. That's it. And then I seem to remember I had one down here. Or was it in there? put a little bit of glue on, like so. There we go. Okay, I've got a tiny bit of glue there that I'm going to rub off with my glue remover. Okay, so there is my magnolia on my background. I've got some linen thread on here. So I'm just deliberating about this sentiment. I may have a long, thin piece that I could use, so I do have a happy birthday and thinking of you. Buried in my bag. No, I got it out ready. So, I've got a thank you that would fit in there. Celebrate, thinking of you, happy birthday. Let's have a look, see. So that little thank you would certainly fit there, wouldn't it? Let me see if I've got a small die. Oh, that's very small. I've got here. Sorry to keep you waiting, everybody. I might just... It's too big. That would probably do it. Just going to stamp that in espresso, which will match this background piece as well. And then I've got to decide what backing this might go on. Put that in the middle. Sorry if I stamp that a little bit too far down off the bottom of the screen. Just do cuts like that, and if you want to get the other one the same, then take the piece that you've cut off and then place it on here, and then you can choose if you want it to be exactly the same angle. Just pop it on there and use that as a guide, like so. There we go. I think that works in between those two, doesn't it? So I'm going to pop that up on dimensionals as well, and then put the card together. So I've used the white die cut and then the foil, the same thing in foil. So I've got this stunning piece left over that you could use obviously on another card. There we go. So I'm trying to put this the same distance between that, that and that. So you've got the triangle here. There we go. Right, so two things. We need backing first and then a white card, or I could use a yellow card. And maybe some bling. I've got some yellow here. They would definitely work, wouldn't they? And green as well, so I've got the two. So just in case of deciding what colour layer I'm going to have behind, and I could put it onto a crumb cake card potentially. So this is Granny Apple Green. If I can get it out. Like so. See what I've got in yellow. This is crushed curry. I think that's probably the best of the layers that I've got. I'm feeling probably the green. Like so. And then all of that is going to go onto a white base card. I will grab from here. Of course I have everything except the one format I need. I'm just going to cut that. So let me know if you think the green or the yellow is best. Just going to score this at 14.85 and cut at 10.5 centimetres. This is UK sized A4 card. So that layer and that layer, like so. I'm happy with that. So let's just fold this in half. I think that was thunder outside. Can't always tell because sometimes we get tractors and things going along the main road. Okay, so I'm just lining this up from the corner, and then I'm going to pop this on top, and I haven't bothered affixing this linen thread because it's going to be caught behind here anyway. There we go. Just doing it gently across the top because I've got that die cut underneath. There we go. There's our card. And then it's going to add a little bit of bling. So I've got the green, I've got yellow and a slight orange hint. So let's have a look, see. This is yellow. A smaller one. And larger one there. There we go. Finished. So pleased with that in the end. Actually I'm going to add, just wondering to add 2 more gems down there, and then I don't need to wipe off that glue, but I think it'll be fine. As soon as it's dry I'll just use my adhesive remover. And there we go. So I'm also just going to finish this one. Just want to stamp a small flower in here, because if I don't know it now it won't get done. So it's this one here. Just want to pop that on there. And this is in espresso. And what I'm going to do is, just so I don't stamp onto this green, mossy green outline, although it is, I don't think you'd actually see it, but just to prevent that, I'm going to grab a post-it note. Let's use a used one. A little bit overkill this one. But I'm just going to pop this right on that edge between the paper and the card base here, and then stamp this maybe like that in espresso. That. There we go, and maybe another one right at the bottom. Or just the leaf. There we go. That's it. And I can just colour that in, and then I'm going to stamp my just a note on another piece of die cut card. Now I've got a little circle there, which fits perfectly, or I have, it's a bit too big, that's a bit too big, as is that. I think that's the same size. So I'm hoping, yes, my just a note should fit on there because it's covered it up on here. I'm just going to grab a different espresso ink pad because I think this is a little bit too light. I refilled one and not the other. Right, just a note I need. That's from the same Simply Said stamp set that I use the thank you from. This is a really useful everyday stamp set. I think, I want to say it's only £16, but it's got 10 really useful sentiments. All of those, well, maybe not the yay, I don't know, but I'd use all the others. Okay. Yes, that's better, isn't it? Just wondering whether to re-stamp that flower in this darker colour. just so you can see a bit better. The other one was so light you could hardly see it, so just going to go straight over it like that. There we go. Right, my just a note is going to go onto there. I might add a little bit of bling to that, and I'm just going to colour this in. It might take me a while to find the right colours that I use. It looks like Flirty Flamingo. Let me see if it's that one. Nope, that's dark Flirty Flamingo. Let me find the light one. Sorry everybody, this is really boring for you. There it is. Light Flirty Flamingo. That's what it is. So just going to add just that little bit of detail. Go. To the flower. That's a little bit of Mossy Meadow, I think. That in there, and there's also this one here. And I think I used a combination of Mossy Meadow and Granny Apple Green. Oh yes, that's definitely Thunder. Okay, so that one I will just add a bit of bling to and pop that onto a card, and we're all done. So thank you so much. This is our finished card for this evening. I hope you like it. As I say, added a little bit of bling, bit of linen thread, and the die cut piece which I cut up, and you could use that on the inside, I guess, if you wanted to. Seems a bit overkill for the inside, doesn't it? But could cut those petals off, just have that on the inside there, and that would do it. So thank you so much for joining me. If you stuck all the way through, thank you so much, and if not, thanks Fran. I look forward to crafting with you on Monday morning with our new stamp set of the week for next week. So thank you so much for joining me. Do have a great weekend, depending on obviously where you are and when you're watching. If not, have a great day or evening, and I look forward to crafting with you again next week. Thank you so much everyone. Do take care. Bye for now.